Hi, welcome to this 30-minute webinar on setting the direction for your life in 2022. Today, we'll be focusing on vision. Vision boards is something that we've all talked about over the years. They've evolved. And now we've moved into some new ways to create vision boards and take it even a step further into vision stories. I am so happy and pleased to be partnering with Ms. Cynthia Ruiz. She is a best-selling author and a personal development trainer. I'll let her do her own intro in just a second here. And I am JC Lacey, also a professional development trainer and a community builder. Many of you know my work in Los Angeles in community engagement. At this time, I'll let Cynthia introduce herself.
Thank you so much, JC. And, I just always start everything with gratitude. So thank you very much for showing up today. Everybody that's participating, thank you. So my name is Cynthia Ruiz, and I am a best-selling author. I'm an award-winning professor. I am a personal development speaker, and I am a proud Indigenous Latina woman. Now, I want to say the reason why I felt it was so important to partner with JC is because I felt it was important to have balance. And what do I mean by that? Having a perspective of masculine and feminine, because as we know, men and women think different. And it doesn't mean that one's better than the other, it's just different. So coming together in this partnership, we want to provide this information to you to help you. And we know that there's going to be some men in our audience and some females in our audience. So what we're going to do is start off with the why. Why are we doing this? Well, JC and I, what we have in common is a passion for personal development. Now, personal development has been around a long time. We used to call it self-help. But what personal development really is, it's about owning your life, taking charge of your life, and really empowering yourself with the knowledge that you are in control of your life. And when you talk about personal development, it's really important not to compare yourself with others. So the information we're going to be giving you today is for you to take charge of your individual life and really set the vision for 2022. What do you think, JC?
I think you're right on. I feel it's so important, this topic of vision, because this is where it all begins. We have to see something, visualize something for it to come to fruition. This is part of the way we work. And so if we ignore that important, critical aspect of our brains and how we work and how we move, then we'll be shortchanging ourselves. So really, our vision determines our future. What we see determines what we become. And so we have to, at times, we can use our physical eyes. We see examples. We kind of see what we want. We see how we want to achieve it through examples and mentors, etc. But also, vision is also a function of the heart. Sometimes you don't see what is to be and what is tugging at you to go tackle. We're looking for problems in a way. I know that sounds weird to say, but we're all here to solve a problem in our generation. I really, truly feel that. And so through this practice of vision, we can see ourselves doing just that. And I'll also share, we said, why is this important for me personally to be involved with this webinar and working with you, Cynthia, is because it fits in line with my life's mission, which is to strengthen and develop communities. I think communities go beyond geography. They go into any ways that we choose to connect. And so, part of my vision for 2022, which is tied to goals, and we can go into that, is to put out this content. And it is to help develop my colleagues and friends on Facebook and LinkedIn and my team. And so, yes, we're making a community here, and happy to be here today. And we're just talking about vision. So yes, that's part of my response.
Well, thanks for that. And, personal development is really nothing new for me. I have a master's in counseling, and I've been working with adults in some form of capacity my entire life. I have a successful executive coaching program where I work with executives, top level people, and teach them about leadership. I'm a professor. I teach leadership and business at the graduate level. So this comes very natural to me. And one thing that I have found that most people have in common is that they many times fall in the victim mode, victim of their circumstances, victim of their past, and they really don't take charge of their life. And I am a passionate believer that we each and every one of us can take charge of our life. But I also acknowledge that every person has their own journey. Every single person is unique. Every single person is special. And every single person has their own journey in life. And like we have always heard, life is a journey, not a destination. And when you get to empower yourself along your journey, you realize that you get to define success in your life. You don't have to worry about how others define success. A lot of time in society, people define success as how much money is in your bank account, or you define it about how many cars you have, all the material things in life. But interesting, when you look at happiness, because to me, that's the goal, happiness. If you look at happiness, the longest study of happiness comes out of Harvard University. And they did a happiness study over like 30 years. And what they found at the end of the day is that it's not how much money you have, it's the quality of relationships in your life. And because that's so important, you are the foundation for all relationships in your life. So if you take the time to work on yourself and develop yourself, you're going to have better relationships and be happy. Now, wouldn't you agree, JC?
Absolutely. Wow, you packed in a lot of courses right within that statement, but I absolutely agree. When we look at wealth, a lot of people are, especially in the business world, on the professional development side, wealth and money it is critical, it is important. But there are other measures of wealth, our health, like, our physical health, as we are seeing with COVID, the pandemic right now. Relationships, you mentioned, but I'll double up on that again with the pandemic. You can have all the money in the bank, but if you're sick and you have no one that is there for you, how wealthy are you? Friendships are critical in that. So, it all bleeds together, and this builds us up as personal individuals, but it helps us when we go out into the business realm. I focus a lot on the business realm, but we have to bring our whole selves to whatever endeavor that we're getting into in terms of business. Also want to say, in terms of setting vision and kind of moving into some tools and techniques that people can use and take away. We know we talked about why people create vision boards, because you need to see it to become it. But let's talk about some details onto how to do that. In the past, we've all used the newspaper clippings and we've glued them to big poster boards. And I think I have one in my garage right now. You break it out from time to time, but Let's talk a little bit about updating that and how can we do that in some digital ways and that could even be more accessible and more visual to us. You want to kick us off in that area, Cynthia?
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm with you. You know, back in the day when it was called self-help, before it was personal development, I did these big, bulky vision boards where, like you said, you cut out stuff and you put it, you know, pasted it to a board. Nowadays, what I like to do in updating that information is not just call it a vision board, call it a vision story, because really what you're doing is you're writing the next chapter in your life. I like to think of life as a book. We each have our life book, right? And we have different chapters in that book. So when you're doing your vision story, it's just a chapter in your overall life. So to me, a story comes to life, whereas a vision board is static. So really it's about the first step in this is setting your intentions. Now, setting your intentions, you can do this one of two ways. You can set your intention for a specific part of your life, for example, your career, or you can set your intentions for your general life. And if you do that, what I recommend is look at your life holistically, mind, body, spirit. So look at things that are going to stimulate your mind, maybe taking classes, maybe listening to podcasts. You know, I have to admit, I'm with full disclosure, I'm going to be vulnerable here. I don't really read books. What I do is I listen to books, audio. I love audiobooks. And so ask yourself, how can you feed your mind? Your body. Well, you know, I try to eat healthy. I, you know, walk, hike, exercise, dance. And JC, I know you're a big dancer. So you look at your life and say, okay, do I want to do a vision story specifically for one area of my life? Or do I want to look at it holistically, mind, body, spirit? And it's so important to feed your spiritual side. Now, everybody does that differently. You know, JC, how do you feed your spiritual side?
Well, it for me starts with environment and setting a nice environment to become reflective and introspective. And that starts for myself every morning as I rise. You know, I do my internal reflections and do all of my spiritual development before I start my day. So for me, it's all about the morning ritual and the morning routine. And that helps me to get started, and it helps me to visualize my day. Because immediately after that, I kind of feel energized. And although I do keep a digital to-do list, sometimes I have to take out a pen and paper and just start writing. And so that may resonate with some of you. There's something to be said about putting words down on paper and that added, you know, sensory stimulus. So, but let me not get off too far. What I did want to say is that helps me start my vision for the day. And as it relates to vision boarding and vision stories, now that we have that added tool here, I feel like those visuals help me to refocus on what is a priority and what is not a priority. So while vision story may sound like a creative function, and it is, you can be creative with it, it also brings up the concept of discipline for me, because on that board is what I do want. So what does that automatically tell me? Anything else is not for me, at least not for this chapter. And you know, timing is everything. You might have something on your vision, in your long-term vision, that is on your board, but next year it's going to be more prominent. But you're doing that with intention because of the way things flow. And there may be something else on your board that has to happen first. And so again, this whole concept of being creative, yet it is a discipline. And another metaphor for a vision board or vision story as it relates to discipline. And I just came from a fishing trip. It makes me think of vision as an anchor. So if you can think of it that way, my vision means anything on my to-do list, all of my goals, all of my milestones, all of my check-ins are going to be related to the anchor of what is my vision and my vision story for this year, for this time. So
it's interesting because I have a little bit, you consider your anchor, and I consider the vision story as my roadmap. It's like it helps guide me in what direction that I want to go into. And I think we should take a minute and talk a little bit about the difference between your vision story and New Year's resolutions. Because what happens in the beginning of the year when we started 2022, people were like, oh, I need to do New Year's resolutions. But to me, that's kind of an antiquated way of looking at things, because we all know that most people don't follow through. But when you have the vision story and you're looking at it more holistically, like for this year, this is where I'm going. For you, you believe it's your anchor, which I think is a great way to look at it as well. For me, when I set my intentions for this year, my 3 intentions were, I want to be more creative. I want to bring more love into my life, and I want to create abundance. And so creativity happens in a lot of different ways, right? And when I talk about love, there's so many different types of love. There's romantic love, there's family love, there's friend love, there's community love, there's love for humanity. But it really all starts with yourself and loving yourself. And one of the things over the last few years, as we were going through the pandemic, a lot of my time was spent alone. And I would joke with people, you know, I'm sure glad I love myself, because I never felt lonely. I never felt bored. I never felt anxious. Now, granted, my life was virtual, but you have to adapt and adjust. And then in terms of abundance, yes, abundance can mean money, but it could also mean abundance just means a lot of something, right? And so it's a lot of what I love to do. And so those are my intentions, but my goal that I set for this year was really producing content, positive content that's going to help people's lives. Because my mission statement, I know you shared yours, my mission statement is to be a beneficial presence on this planet. So as you can see, your vision story, all of these different components are weaved together. So JC, what were your intentions for 2022?
well, we aligned on one of them, which was to put out this content and to do it, you know, on a regular basis. And so I'm very happy that we're doing that. And it doesn't matter how small the step is, as long as we're moving in the right direction, we can always pick up momentum, and life rewards that. You know, sometimes it's free flowing and things fall down, and you know, back to back, you're knocking off, and then sometimes it's hard and you have to inch forward. But those times are helpful too. They help to make us a little bit tougher. And so that was one, was to put out this content, and I'll share another one. You talked about segmenting your vision boards, for having one for career, perhaps one for personal or goal specific, and that's great. So I'll share one that is related to, on a personal note. We've had in my family, there's been some family land, and for 20 years, it's just been messy with inheritances. And I think some of you, if you've ever gone through that, you know how messy that can be. Well, I saw a vision in which I made some goals and made some time-bound goals after that. But I saw a vision of the land settled with a beautiful home, fully decorated with my family members there. My mother, I can see what she's wearing, the colors, there's neon, bright green and red here, even down to the decorations. And I can feel the wind blowing, looking at it from the angle that I want to see it. And so that has put some things into motion that have started coming to fruition quickly. Issues in the legal side of things have been tied up for years. Now that I'm involved, you know, sometimes you have to have that magic touch to be involved with it. And that's where you listen to your inner voice and you know when to move forward. But sometimes you have the grace to do it. And so it's me, I'm one of the youngest in the family, but we're moving this thing forward. We have approvals. I'm dealing with courts and getting sign-offs. And this is happening in Puerto Rico. So that anybody who's done business and dealt with courts and on an island, you can understand it doesn't always go as it does here. But, and so I just want to share that we're looking very good. I got everything secured and we're moving everything forward, drawing plans and et cetera. So that is one example. You know, I just shared some personal detail with, you know, what I saw, what I feel. And that's kind of the whole idea of visioning. And I can testify that that has really been working for me in that example.
And that's a great example, because when we're talking about setting your intentions, we want you to dream, and we want you to dream big. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just worry about, not worry, but just set your intentions and dream big. So that's step number one. Set your intentions for 2022, which takes us to step number two. And step number two is the process of gathering the visuals to put on your vision board. But like I said, vision boards are kind of antiquated. So what I like to do is have people gather the visuals, because everybody uses technology now. Gather your visuals and put them in either PowerPoint or on Google Slides. Mm-hmm. What I recommend to people is there's some great platforms out there where you can pick and choose the visuals. For example, Shutterstock. You don't have to have, I mean, it is a paid program that has all these pictures, but you can go and take screenshots. That's what I do. Or iStock. iStock is by Getty Images. You can go and take screenshots of all these amazing shots to kind of put it together, not on a board, but on a virtual platform, so you can bring it together in one place to have your vision board, your vision story, so you can see it on a regular basis. Now, JC, how do you go about putting all these visuals together?
Well, you know, you and I have done some stuff together, so I'm using some of the same tools you use, but also, I guess I'll just list some other. Google Images is a great place to search. Pinterest is a great one. Your phone, your own phone. And so there's a good one. As you see images out in the real world that represent to you, that represent what you'd like to accomplish, snap a photo of it. It doesn't have to be directly related. I'll give you an example. There's a picture in my phone of we've heard this is more of a cliche, but I saw it beautifully. A flower growing through a crack in the cement. That picture is a whole essay. You can build a course around that picture. And so don't have to be literal. They can mean something to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that visual of that rock going through the concrete, because to be honest, it kind of reminds me of my own life. You know, I'm a perfect example of how anything is possible despite all odds. You know, I didn't come from a good background, didn't have money, was the first person in my family to go to college, had a lot of adversity. And to be able to get to the point where I am today where I love what I do and I'm happy with life, I really do feel that I'm like that flower that went through the concrete. And just a message to everybody, everybody in life, you're going to have challenges. Everyone's going to suffer some type of loss, whether it's loss of people that you love, loss of a job, loss of a marriage, loss of whatever, loss of, a lot of people over the last few years really suffered a loss of what they thought was normal. So we're going to go, everybody's going to go through these challenges because that's just part of life and it's okay. You can come out like that beautiful flower and thrive. Just really, it has to do with you believing in yourself and investing in yourself and really finding your own path of personal development.
Yeah, total agreement. And to just double up on what you said in terms of hardships, they're part of it. Yeah, it's almost, it is part of the recipe. You do have to go through a hard phase. You may have to go through several, but that has nothing to do with our vision. And that's why keeping it visual helps us to stay and remain focused. But totally with that, with that flower example, the dirt, the fertilizer, nothing is going to happen to a seed sitting on the cement. It has to be covered. It has to be strengthened through adversity. So I love what you said there.
Well, I'm going to jump into step number 3 because believe it or not, we're running out of time already. So step number 3, once you gathered all these visuals, you put them in one place. Yes, you can do a board or create a document. What I like to do is I like to create a document and then use that document, as a photo and as a screensaver. So it's a constant reminder to me. But the point is, put all these visuals in one place to tell your story. Now, how do you save it? Where do you look at it all the time?
For the big ones, it's my bathroom mirror.
Oh, okay.
I put something right there, but I do double and triple up. I put things in my car. Sometimes I find little notes to myself and I forgot where I hid it, but it's a repetitive note or a picture or an image. And that's what I've been doing. Bathroom mirror, car, office, screensaver, phone, all of the above.
Well, I can't believe that, the time flew by, but to recap, there's 3 steps to set your vision board, vision story. Number 1, set your intentions and dream big. Number 2, gather the visuals that support that and put them in one place. So which is step number 3, organize it, review it on a regular basis. One of the things about vision stories and vision boards, they're not static documents. They are dynamic, which means they change all the time. In 6 months, I might think that I want something else in life, and it's okay because life has twists and turns, and it's okay. And so what are your final thoughts about talking about our vision board, vision story, JC?
Well, my final thoughts is where you left off, which is we're going to set our vision. Hopefully that it's done now, but if not, hey, it's still early enough in the year to do it for 22. And then we're going to be doing check-ins along the way. As we said, Cynthia and I are committed to doing this and engaging with you on professional and personal development this year. And so we invite you, you're going to hear more from us. We'll show you how to connect with us when we do these forums and other type of check-ins and trainings that we have in store for 2022.
Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.